Beats Planet.
Tell me about my levels. What my sound like? Chat box, please let me know. Am I too loud? Can you go for a little bit more volume? Let me know. I'm rocking my Beats headphones, so of course everything sounds loud to me. Y'all let me know how I sound before we get going. Let me clear my throat. Let me fix my hat. The shell cases. Y'all let me know. Let me know what we sounding like so we can get started. It's late. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. We good to go? All right. So listen, man. Of course, this is draft season, and I figured tonight will be a good time to do our draft show. We want to do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let's make this Tuesday's draft show so y'all can get it live. And those of you that are that watch it, later, watch it Tuesday. This will be y'all's draft show. It'll be on demand, so to speak. So you're getting the same draft content that you would get all week. But man, absolutely, the phone lines lit. Nick, call in 515-606-5187, access code 309104. Any of y'all can call into the show and give me your reactions if you want to. I know Taylor is a LSU Tiger fan, so I know he's probably going to call in after he get his thoughts together or whatever. And Rio dropped 100 in the super chat for Ms. Lombardi. Nina, you see that? You see that? Nene is she's a Tigers fan. She's an LSU Tigers fan. So this is, and let me tell her story because she didn't know LSU was gonna be great. This is her first year watching college football. I was trying to get her into college ball or whatnot because I felt like college ball is better than pro ball. I promise you, that game we just watched is gonna be better than the Super Bowl. Salute to you though, Rio. It's gonna be better than the Super Bowl. So I was like, listen, watch some college football and pick you a team and we'll just go from there. I was watching the LSU game and she heard Coach Ogeron, thought he was hilarious. She thought that Joe Burrow looked like Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin or whatever, a grown version of him. She like, cool, I'll root for them. Next thing you know, they even won the daggum national championship via playoffs, right? I got a lot of thoughts, man. A lot of thoughts I want to get off about this game, and then we're gonna get into the phone. I have my what's the name recording. I got my post game trophy announcement, all that recording. So I'll watch that later. But let me just get into it, man. Going into this game, I got a very weird relationship with Clemson fans. You know what I mean? Clemson fans think I hate them. They think I can't stand them. Every draft season, there's a new Clemson player that I'm hating on. Hey, Deshaun Watson, Mrs. Reeds, Cleveland Farrell is kind of overrated to go fourth overall. Like, boom, boom, boom. Like, every year there's a new Clemson guy that I kind of got a problem with. So Clemson fans think I hate Clemson. Right? Then going into this game, when I say things like, man, I think LSU going to beat the shit out of Clemson, that's just throwing more fire onto people that think I hate Clemson. But what you want me to say, I really felt like nobody was going to beat LSU. When this thing really started going, man, when the LSU train really got into full effect, like it was cool in the first little part of the season, but when that thing caught steam, just from a X's and O's schematic steam point, it's hard to beat LSU, bro. It was going to be hard to beat LSU. And they lined up against some of the best teams in the I was about to say the National Football League, the best teams in the country, and Joe Burrow and LSU smoked them children one by one. I remember in the Tebow era, okay, chat box, ride with me. I think Nick Gasher was a little too young at the time. I remember in the Tebow era when Colt Brennan and Tebow was actually having Heisman conversation. When Colt Brennan, when he was leading everything in passing and passing yardage and passing touchdowns, and they gave the Heisman to Tebow or whatever. And I was like, dog, Colt Brennan from Hawaii, like he I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna beat Colt Brennan record, bro. Nobody's gonna beat Colt Brennan record. And now Joe Burrow has smoked Colt Brennan's record in the SEC, then with 2 playoff games. It is crazy. It is crazy. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We saw a lot from from a lot of draft prospects. Isaiah Simmons was trending. that was interesting. I think I remember the Tebow era. I was not Tebow in Denver. I'm talking about Tebow in Florida when he was throwing the ball to Riley Cooper and Aaron Hernandez and Percy Harvin was at running back at the time. I'm talking about that Tebow era. That's the one I'm talking about when him and Colt Brennan was going at it for real in college ball. That's what I'm saying. Young Nick Gashel, but yes, Isaiah Simmons was trending, and Clyde had a big game. Joe had a big game. Isaiah Simmons, even in a loss, had a big game. Look, we can't even hate on Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence played a solid game. He's probably going to be first overall pick next year, but my goodness, once Joe Burrow gets to going, it's going to be a problem. I remember telling Nene, right, I'm just watching the game. She was like, what's going on? What's happening? I was like, you know what? With this field position, it's easy for Clemson to play defense, right? They're going to be aggressive. They're going to jump routes because you can't hold the ball too long. If you're not Ohio State, but if you LSU, you can't hold the ball too long when you backed up into the 5, right? Because, I mean, hey, if you hold the ball, it turns into a safety. So you got to get the ball out quick. You got to, you know what I'm saying, things like that. And Clemson did the smart thing by pressuring, by jumping short routes or whatever, and it put LSU in a hole. But when I was like, hey, if Clemson score a touchdown, LSU coming. And sure enough, Clemson scored a touchdown, and Trevor Lawrence blew kisses to all the whoop-de-woos in the crowd or whatever, trying to, you know what I'm saying, all the lit da-da-dos and all the little, you know what I'm saying, all the little birch canoes. He was blowing kisses to him, but I was watching and I was like, fam, Clemson getting in the end zone puts Joe Burrow at the 25. Now we got room to operate. It's on the way. And boy, Joe Burrow didn't stop. He didn't stop. And what I liked about Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow was stressed out the whole game. Right? He had this anger in his face. He didn't want to talk to nobody. He didn't want to touch nobody. He didn't want to say nothing to Coach Orgeron. He was just pissed off until the game was over. And he came on the sideline. He pointed at his ring finger, and it was ball game, man. Fantastic game from Joe Burrow, man. We got a lot of film to break down. I'm probably going to break down that film a bunch. There was a lot of pros in the game. Let's see, Rashard Lawrence, the 3-tech from LSU, he was in the game. T. Higgins was in the game. ETN played a really good game. I talked about Isaiah Simmons already. Grant Delpit had a really good game. We're going to talk about a little bit of that later, I'm sure, when Nick Gasher gets on the phone. Chason, the pass rush for LSU, the Arden Key looking kid with all the bend. Hey, he probably didn't show up on the box score like talking about, but he was pressuring the hell out of Lawrence. You know what I mean? That's another conversation we got to have, man. But in terms of the game, though, man, fantastic game, though, bro. Fantastic game, bro. And now it's officially draft season. Now that the actual game is over with, it's 100% draft season. It is over with now. Nick Gasher, it's over with now. It's time to get started. You know what I mean? Talk to me.
Here we go.
Let me say this before you get started. Let me say this before you get started. Can I say one thing before you get started? Isaiah Simmons lined up at Mike, Will, defensive end, weak side defensive end, and like pass rushing outside linebacker, outside corner, slot, and he covered Thaddeus Moss at damn strong safety. Fam. But look, it's not like they just putting them all over the place. You know what I mean? Like kind of like Jabril Peppers, right? They'll just put them all over the place, right? It ain't like they just put them there. But he's batting passes, he's making tackles, he's getting pressure, and he's tackling. He's making all the plays.
Exactly.
I think it's Joe Burrow.
Isaiah Simmons had an incredible game.
Talk to us, man. Tell me about the whole game in general. Talk to me about some of these draft prospects. Talk about Joe. Talk about Isaiah. Just talk about everything, Nick Gash.
A couple of the takes I'll take away first and foremost. Isaiah Simmons had an incredible game.
Sure.
First half, he came through. He made an impact really in that first quarter. Sure. I came in and watched the game a little bit late, but the first play I saw was him pick up that on that blitz package where he came in and just sacked the shit out of Joe Burrow on that 5-yard line, the second drive of LSU's.
Sure.
On film, it's very much the same thing. He's an aggressive, physical player who can play really anywhere you want. He's athletic enough to do anything. I think he's a top 7 prospect on my board. I love Isaiah Simmons, and he showed it in this game really well.
You know, when I did my last live stream, I talked about Isaiah Simmons and how much I really like him. I don't know if you watched that live stream, Nick, but I was like, boy, I want Isaiah Simmons at number 17. And everybody was like, man, Voch, there's no way he makes number 17. And you know, me being angry Voch guy, I was like, listen, fam, we don't know what's going to happen. Every safety you ever said wasn't going to make it to 17, all they asked made it to 17. That's true. Every safety that these Cowboy fans wish they had, they all got to 17 and past that. But boy, just watching this game, dog, Isaiah Simmons ain't gonna make it to 17. He's not gonna make it to 17, dog. Having a big game like this to go trending like that, and then he still got the combine to blow up, dog. Isaiah not gonna make it to 17, bro.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a lot of Giants people saying, "Let's draft this kid at 4. I don't give a shit about Andrew Thomas. Let's just take Isaiah Simmons at 4 and call it a day."
That's them beat writers, man.
So that's what I've.
Yeah.
Then there's 4 months to go, but we'll see. But that's what I've been hearing.
Sure.
And Matt S has it right. Simmons ain't a safety, but he's a linebacker. He's both.
He everything.
He can play anywhere you want. He can play anything you want.
He is absolutely everything. Absolutely. And to be fair, I think the place that you would play him the most would be strong safety because he can cover. Like he can really cover. You know what I mean? Like he was covering Clyde, and Clyde is a fantastic receiving running back. Clyde couldn't get off on Simmons. The Thaddeus Moss wasn't catching no passes till Isaiah Simmons was elsewhere. He had to go cover somebody. He went to go cover the slot receiver. Fam, he is more than just a linebacker, bro. He's way more than just a linebacker. But go ahead.
I'm just trying to get in and out because it's a late night for me. But Joe Burrow,
yeah,
incredible game. You see him adjust early to those blitzes and that struggle in the opening quarter where he had the multiple drives inside the 5. A lot of those blitz packages getting called worked.
Sure.
He and Joe Brady worked something out. They were able to do something great. You saw him multiple times, sideline shots with his headphones on, trying to figure shit out, and he did it. 5 touchdowns, 440 yards towards the end of the 4th quarter. I mean, what's not to love about this kid? Sure, he doesn't have a great arm, but you can get past it, like you said in that film session, which I was watching towards the end of the game.
Sure.
He doesn't have the best arm, but it's cool though because he still has the arm able to make a lot of those plays.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know. Joe Burrow is probably one of the more polished and most complete quarterbacks I've watched since 2017. I'm a huge fan of him, and he just keeps getting better after every game. That's the big thing about him.
Yeah.
I watched Joe Burrow, and he gets better after every single game that he plays.
Then you know what? The games keep getting harder. You know what I mean? And that was my big point because if Tua's gonna be healthy, I think Tua versus Joe is actually gonna be a real conversation. But this is my biggest point, and I said this in my film video. I've seen Tua nut up in big games. I've seen him do it. I have never seen Joe. He don't get rattled. He you know, he'll get a 3 and out or whatever, but he'll figure it out, go to the sideline, make his adjustments, then next thing you know, he's dropping 3 more touchdowns on you, bro. Like this was a harder fight for Joe Burrow. Technically, it just looked that way, but he still freaking had 5 touchdowns. Like he threw for 5 and he ran 1 or something like that. He still had. Come on, son.
It's insane.
Joe ridiculous.
And in terms of Trevor Lawrence, we got a ways to go with him because it's still a year away.
Sure.
He had a good game though. I mean, like you looked at him in the first half, and he's making all those right reads, and he's making big plays downfield. That one drive where they opened up and drew first blood.
Sure.
A lot of big plays downfield where he finds the open receiver, and they're able to get a good amount of yards after the catch. Both really good quarterbacks. I'm not taking it away from one, but Joe Burrow was clearly the better quarterback tonight, and I think it shows in the 5 touchdowns and 42-25 win over Clemson.
Do you think that his quarterback brain, where he is right now, you think that comes from him being like a 5-year player? You know what I mean?
I think it's a little bit of that. I
Sure.
think it's a little bit about the fact that he comes from a football family. I mean, his dad was a coach.
Yeah.
It seems like he worked really hard over the offseason.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit of Joe Brady.
Sure. Sure.
It's a lot of the stuff, and he's gotten it, and he's sticking to it. I mean, it's not just like Joe Brady. It's the progressions that he makes on the field. You watch that happen. He goes through his progressions. He finds the great receiver. He throws with touch. He makes accurate throws.
Sure.
He's mobile. I mean, like you said, in today's NFL, 2020 NFL football, you need to be mobile if you want to succeed in the league.
Sure.
And that's what we see.
Sure. Yeah, man,
Um,
it's just interesting, man. I see a lot of people they want to push Dak Prescott off a bridge now for Joe Burrow. I just want to tell people relax. Joe Burrow's number one in college. Well, Dak was number one in passing in the pros, like in real life. You know what I mean? Like let's slow down and relax a little bit. And when Dak was in college, like Dak was like if Dak had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and 6'4", 270 Clyde, like he probably would have had one of those years too. I understand that it's real recent, so let's not push your proven quarterback off the bridge for Joe Burrow. But if I'm Cincinnati, I'm sending that damn playbook to him right now. He needs to be ready right now.
Yeah. And you look at it, I've actually been looking at this for a while, and I feel like Cincinnati could potentially compete next year. I mean, they got the wide receiving core if they bring back A.J. Green and all those other dudes, Tyler Boyd and what have you. They got Joe Mixon. If they secure up that offensive line and make it a little bit better, and Joe Burrow's added into the mix, you've got yourself a really good offense all of a sudden.
Yeah, sure.
It's a hot take, and we'll see. He could also finish 6-10 at the bottom of the AFC North, but he could also be second place in the AFC North, competing with Lamar for potentially a wild card playoff spot.
Well, if you think about the Bengals and the games that they lost, I think 8 games were lost by like 1 point. You know what I mean, or just one drive or one possession, right? So if you just flip that over one time, you'll be better. Plus, their offensive line got healthy. I think their defense is talented. Sure, you just got to beg AJ Green. AJ Green. Listen, we're gonna get you a quarterback. We promise. we promise. And you just keep him there. You keep Boyd there. Maybe you keep John Ross there. You draft for offensive line, and this thing will be okay. This thing will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Burrow is the truth, man.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about what this kid is going to be doing in the NFL.
Sure.
Another thing, Delpit didn't have the best game, but that fumble at the end of the game was pretty nice against Trevor Lawrence. Sure. I saw him make a couple other good hits.
Yeah.
People who are saying he's not a good tackler, I think that's just because he's been injured over the course of the season. He had like an ankle injury or something.
Sure.
I think he's still a pretty good talent, and since he's a safety, he's probably going to fall. It's just the nature of the beast. But whoever's going to get Grant Delpit and teach him a little bit more about trying to be a little bit more aggressive, I think he's going to be great.
I think Delpit showed some good range today too. Some good range in his coverage. If anything, Grant showed you today that he's a better free safety than he is a box safety. So if you have him as a free safety, he tackles pretty well as a free safety. You know, box safeties that's when you get in linebacker territory. So he's not as versatile as like a Derwin James is or whatever. But you ain't got to ask him to be that. Just ask him to cover people and to have range from the deep. The cover one spot, so you know, it is what it is on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Clyde, 6'4", 270 Clyde, he had himself a game. I really liked because I hadn't watched film on him beforehand, but I'm definitely going to head into the film room the next couple of days and check out him.
Watch Alabama.
What a game for him.
Yeah. I was like, he's probably like, there's a lot of running backs in this class or whatever. A lot of them are going to be like second round picks or whatever, because that's just how running backs go. I don't think there's a first round running back in this class or whatever, but Clyde could have the best career out of him, and he's going to be a fourth round pick. Like, that's just what happens to these running backs that come in kind of short, kind of small, undersized or whatever. But Clyde is one big thick muscle. He runs hard. He runs low. He catches the football. He blocks well. He's complete, and he's not special at anything. You know, if you look at ETN, like he showed fantastic balance today, and Alvin Kamara makes balance backs have money nowadays. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna make a lot of money because of Alvin. Right. He's a very solid player, and I think he has the chance to be one of the better pros in his class, even if he is drafted in the fourth round or so.
I agree. Yeah. But that's all I got for the show tonight, Voch. I got geometry class and second period tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to head out.
Boy, that's funny. Whenever you get a break, man, listen to it tomorrow when it's on demand or whatever. So you do that.
Yes, sir.
Salute.
Right, peace out.
Yep. Oh man.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Great call. Let's get Nick Gas up out of here. Get out the phone, Nick Gas. Get out the phone. Let's see what the chat box talking about before we move on to the next call. Let's see. Play Coach O, please. Yeah, we was talking about Clyde, 6'4", 270 Clyde. This is why I call him 6'4", 270 Clyde.
You know Clyde is 6'4", 270.
That's why I call him 6'4", 270 Clyde. Y'all don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. Let's get Antonio on the phone. What up, Tony?
What's up?
Everything, bro. What you got for the show?
Man, that game kind of went like I expected.
It's a fantastic game.
I didn't think.
Go ahead.
Because when I looked at LSU, when I heard they was playing Oklahoma, I didn't even watch the game. I knew the game was gonna be a blowout.
Sure.
I wasn't gonna be surprised if they blew out Clemson. I had the utmost confidence they was gonna beat Clemson. Because in my opinion, the best team to match up with LSU would have been Alabama. Even with all the injuries, a healthy Tua and LSU, that's their best matchup.
Probably would have been a better fight. Yeah.
But at first, I'm like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about Joe Burrow being a one-year wonder, but boy, it was a crazy year.
Yeah, I just don't feed into the one-hit wonder because it's not like he's doing it with all talent, right? He's doing it with NFL stuff. He's doing it by making reads, by throwing with anticipation, by being fearless, by attempting. Like every time it was cover zero, they went deep. Every time, like that's just that fearless temperament, man, and he just knows the game a little better than the rest of them, bro. And I think a lot of these one-year wonders, I think that happens when their talent shines deeper than their mental side of the game. Because when you get to the league, talent ain't always gonna help you. Your mental will get you farther. But go ahead.
Because Burrow not the most talented QB he's not the most talented QB, but man.
Yeah.
He got the speed,
sure.
He got the accuracy, he read the defense.
Sure.
He had all the weapons, but boy, he put them in a place to succeed.
Sure.
Because every time Clemson was blitzing, and Clemson was getting with that blitz early, and I kept saying it. If Clemson keep blitzing, they gonna get beat.
Facts.
Because they can't guard Jamar Chase one-on-one.
Facts.
They can't guard these receivers one-on-one. They can't. And every time Jamar Chase was going off.
Yeah.
Destroying that secondary. And even Isaiah Simmons was doing everything. He was blitzing, rushing the quarterback. I remember he was out there shut down Moss.
Don't tell me about it. Don't even tell me about it, dog. Because he
didn't even hear from him. Because some people were like, he might make it outside the top 10. I had a feeling he was going to be a top 10 pick for months. And after this game, and you already know he about to completely destroy the combine, he might go top 5.
Damn, just rub it in, why don't you? Just damn, we already.
I'm saying might.
We already know he's not gonna make it to my team, man. Quit trying to rub this.
Well, Cowboys could trade up. I don't know how secure them top 10 draft spots is gonna be.
Yeah, I'm not trading up, man. I'm not trading up, but yeah.
Hey, and then Clyde Edwards-St. Clair.
Yeah.
I'm an Alabama fan, so when I watched him against Alabama,
sure,
dude was crazy.
Yeah.
And he unlucky too, cause his draft got some running backs.
And that's my point. That's my point. It's gonna be so many backs that he's gonna get pushed down the board, but he's gonna be a really good day whatever back he goes. Like he's gonna be a real good pro, man.
Exactly. There's so many running backs, but that dude looked for real. But my favorite, I really like ETN too, though. But
good.
hey, Claire,
just
breaking every single tackle his way.
Yeah.
And they pass rusher Clavon.
Yes.
That dude was destroying Clemson left tackle.
Yes.
And he had pressure on Trevor Lawrence every single play. He didn't get there all the time. But if you looked at it, he was getting pressure on him every single game. He kept him off his game. He had him rolling out the pocket, everything.
I kind of wish they kept numbers on on hits and pressures like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he probably got like 1 sack or whatever, but he was in the backfield all day. You know what I mean? So, I really wish he would probably get a little more, credit for the game or whatever. But he definitely had Lawrence, running around all day. Yep.
Yeah, they gonna forget about him. And then Fulton, their corner, but I feel bad for him because he unlucky. Because he really good, and he could be a first-round corner.
Sure.
The problem is Stingley, when he come out,
he's gonna be cold.
Might probably a top 10 pick.
And he a damn
now
freshman.
They don't want to go towards Stingley.
Yeah.
They going after Fulton. Now they gonna make him look bad. He probably gonna drop. He was like maybe the second best corner in this class. We gotta see what happened with him.
Yeah.
Delpit was on and off. Some people ain't like his effort on that one touchdown. I forget when it happened.
Sure.
But Delpit's still like a really good prospect. I don't know when Jamar Chase coming out, but boy,
next year
he gonna be good.
Yep, we'll see, man. Appreciate it, Tom.
All right, appreciate it.
Chat box, let me ask y'all a question, man. If I could just kind of, play devil's advocate for a little bit, and I love to play devil's advocate. There once was a linebacker who was really good, who was really fast, really strong, pretty good size, played Will, Sam, and Mike, covered receivers in the slot, had the ability to play strong safety. He didn't, but he had the ability to play strong safety. It was actually 2 linebackers that was able to do that, but I know one in particular that did it a lot more than the other. One's name was Jalen Smith, but he had, his whole leg almost got chopped off. But Miles Jack was the other. You know what I mean? So, and one day on this draft show, we got to have a conversation about the actual term generational talent. First of all, how many generations is a generation? Because we'll be like, oh, Zeke is a generational talent. Then a year later, Saquon comes out and he's also a generational talent. You see what I'm saying? So I would love to define what generational talent is. I love Isaiah Simmons. But I don't think Isaiah Simmons being a linebacker / safety, because both those fall. Linebackers and safeties fall. I don't think teams that need offensive line help would take him over an offensive lineman. I don't think that's a real thing. Or I don't think they take him over, let's say, what's the kid from Ohio State? Jeffrey Okudah. I don't think they would take a safety / linebacker over Okudah, or a pass rusher, or a quarterback if a quarterback needy team would need it. You know what I mean? It's something that we got to look at. It's something that we just got to keep in mind. Now, I love Isaiah Simmons. I've professed it on this show plenty of times. I've tweeted about Isaiah Simmons for a whole hour, but let's just be aware of how offensive line works. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can be not better than another player, but you'll get drafted higher because you play offensive line, or quarterback, or lockdown corner, or edge rusher. You see what I'm saying? But we'll have that conversation one day. That'll be later on down the line. Let's see what happens. G from Miami. We're not trying to be on this show till 3 a.m. now, G. but let me ask you a question though. You're very pro Tua. After watching this game, where you at in the whole Tua versus Burrow conversation?
I mean, like I said, my stance has never changed. Like,
okay, you unwavering.
My thing is, like, I don't understand how, like, some people feel like you could be pro Tua and anti Burrow. Like, I think
sure.
You could love both quarterbacks. I could say I love Tua Tagovailoa and I equally love Joe Burrow.
But
My
you think,
stance was that,
see, you don't think Joe is bad, but you think Tua is better.
this is my whole stance about it.
Right.
Let's say, all right, if the Dolphins and the Bengals were in opposite positions and we had number 1 pick, more than likely my bias would lean more towards Joe Burrow, especially after the season.
Gotcha.
My whole thing with it is Tua Tagovailoa. It's like, I'm not discrediting Joe Burrow's amazing season because he probably had the greatest college football season like ever.
Facts.
But my thing is like Joe Burrow puts his team on the map and has an amazing season. It's like people forget what this man Tua is, like everything he's done. They forget 2 years ago he was just on that national stage, played an amazing game. They forget that even when he played against LSU, he had like a broken ankle and still threw like for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. With like a broken ankle. My thing is, listen, Trent Dilfer said that Tua Tagovailoa is perhaps the best quarterback he's ever seen in the last 20 years. And he said that he has some intangibles you just can't teach. You know, I get, you know, the Joe Burrow hype. I see highlights of Joe Burrow. I think that
I don't like how you saying the word hype. See, I don't like how you saying the word hype. What are you saying, Jesus man?
My thing is, I get the recent Joe Burrow hype because let's get it. Let's get it twisted now. When he played against my Miami Hurricanes, we held them to like about 140-something yards.
That was like week 1.
Yeah, that was week 1. You know, and don't get me wrong. You know, like, you know, offensive systems exist in the NFL. I do know that their previous offensive corner, I think it was Matt Canada, like they replaced him with Joe Brady, and you know LSU just became a monster this year. But my whole thing about it is like don't let this distract you from what Tua is. I still think a healthy Tua, I'm talking about a hip in place Tua, is still the best quarterback, and you can make an argument is between him and Trevor for next year. Which, by the way, Trevor, like, I think there's a serious conversation that needs to be had about Trevor Lawrence at this stage because I get, you know, the comparisons to, you know, Peyton Manning and all of that. And he's a winner. Oh, the last time he lost was, you know, in high school in 2017, and he lost right now. And fam, like, you know, Trevor Lawrence really put up like what, 2 something yards and like 2 touchdowns. Like, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that because I know when Tua Tagovailoa put a similar stat line, or I think Tua had like perhaps like 300 some yards, people killed him. You know, talking about, oh man, Tua disappeared, he choked last year, this and this and that. I'm gonna need people to like, you know, hold these quarterbacks to you know, hold them accountable.
I think,
and you know, like I said, if my team was number 1 next year, I would be, my bias would lean towards Trevor Lawrence too. But I still think a healthy Tua Tagovailoa is definitely top 1, top 2 of all the quarterbacks this year and next year. You got Justin Fields to it, Jacob Eason, Joe Burrow, you know, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, all these quarterbacks. Like, it really, think about it, it really took an injury to Tua to really make Joe Burrow unanimous number 1.
Oh God, I really think. Let me just pause. I think Joe was going to be unanimous number 1 anyway because I think it came down. I
beg him to read. Okay, so tell me this. Tua doesn't get hurt, right?
Sure.
Tua doesn't injure his hip, right? Means that most likely Alabama wins the SEC championship, right?
No.
And Alabama is in the playoffs.
No, because
let's be real.
LSU beat Alabama, so Alabama wouldn't be in the championship game. They would be in the playoffs. I think maybe like a 4th seed.
No,
but
there was talking about it. See, it wasn't even the LSU game that knocked out Alabama, wasn't it?
You talking about this year, right?
Yeah, this year.
LSU beat Alabama. Tua got hurt, and
no, it wasn't.
And
it
Alabama lost to Auburn.
Game. It was the Auburn game that like knocked them out of playoff contention.
Sure.
Because they were still talking about having 2 SEC teams.
Sure.
And the college football playoffs.
Absolutely.
So let's say Tua is a healthy Tua, loses to, you know, Alabama loses to LSU.
Okay.
But they still make it to the national championship.
Okay.
Like Ohio State wasn't going to beat them. Oklahoma damn sure wasn't going to beat them. And you can't lie, Alabama would have put a better fight than Clemson against LSU right now.
Sure, so but Joe Burrow threw for 60 touchdowns this year. Like, come on, son.
Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Joe Burrow's amazing season.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be like Boosie said, he's gonna be one of the best quarterbacks. But my thing is, at the end of the day, scheme fits in the NFL.
Sure.
All of that matters in the NFL. Once Tua gets to put on that aqua until jersey and rehab for a year, I think we're talking about a scare. Because look, another thing is a lot of people like to talk about, you know, the risk of drafting an injury-prone quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
And so, like, those people, I say, like, what is the definition of injury-prone? Because, okay, look, for instance, take two.
You know how hard it is to beat Cole Brennan's record? You remember?
Listen to this.
How old are you? Time out. How old are you? How old are you, G? How old are you?
24.
So
24.
you was
I was
around
watching
when Colt Brennan was in Hawaii.
Yeah, of course.
You know how hard it is to beat that record in the SEC?
But listen to this.
Okay.
All right. They said Fred Taylor was injury prone coming out of college.
We talking about
Taylor,
Joe Burrow.
What?
We talking about Joe.
He only missed like what? Eight games.
We talking about Joe
in the
Burrow.
last couple years. They said, listen, my point still stands. They said Frank Gore was injury prone.
We talking about Joe Burrow. That's two running backs. We talking about Joe Burrow.
I think Tua Tagovailoa is going into the NFL, and he's going to have a long career. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a long career.
Okay.
And then I think we're going to revisit, because it's easy to put Burrow over Tua over this amazing season in the national championship. What happens when they put on the NFL cleats, and then they put on the jock strap, and then they playing, and both of them playing in the AFC? We're going to revisit this.
Let me ask you a question.
Go.
So do you think Tua has a problem in big games? Because every time, when I see Tua in big games, right? Besides the freshman year versus Alabama versus Georgia in the championship game, right? Let's talk about sophomore year. Let's talk about senior year. When he gets into these big games, when he's against LSU, when he's against Georgia, his junior year or whatever, I think it's his junior year, sophomore year, when he's against Georgia, when Clemson beats the hell out of him, right? Like, don't you think that means something, that when we see Joe in big games, Joe is still throwing for 5 and 6 touchdowns, but Tua ain't? Don't that mean something to you?
I mean, before I answer that, I just gotta say, Voch, you got some hating callers. That's for one. You got some hating subscribers. This sit to tally films. I don't know, this guy.
That's Coach Evans. He's fantastic.
What I'm saying is, you can't, like, besides maybe 1 or 2 games, you can't really say Tua choked or Tua doesn't step up. It's not, like I say, you throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns on a bad ankle.
Sure.
I'll take that over whatever stats Joe Burrow puts out there.
So his
ankle. Okay, you can put 7 TDs against Oklahoma all you want. 400 yards is 400 yards on a bad ankle.
But G,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm giving you examples from when his ankle was hurting and when his ankle was not hurting. Like, he still comes down a little bit when these games are close. Was his ankle hurting when Clemson beat the hell out of him last year? Like, was his ankle hurting then?
That's the main game everyone pointed to. His ankles was hurt.
Well, his ankle been hurting for 2 years. That's a problem.
Game that started that.
Well, if his ankle hurt for 2 years, that's a problem. That's a problem. Hey, G, listen, you my guy, but I got a couple more calls I want to get on. All right, so you call back Thursday.
Man, I'm about to head out though. But
yeah, man, we're gonna argue again.
Sure,
appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah.
I was like, G, LSU beat Alabama. He was like, right, but Alabama's gonna win the SEC championship. I was like, no, because LSU didn't lose a game. They was going to play Georgia regardless. Oh, boy, and the chat box proceeded to do chat box things, man. Shouts out to y'all in the chat box. Shouts out to Sip to Tally Podcast. If there's any Ravens fans, I know this is my draft show, so there's bound to be a Ravens fan in here somewhere. Y'all go check out Sip to Tally Film. He's in the chat box right now. He taught me football. He knows a bunch. Check him out. He's a great follow. 301, what up? Who it is?
This is Aaron here. A depressed Texas fan or a happy Tigers fan. Hold down for the Dosey Wolski and the PC Whiskey, man.
Hey,
what up?
What's happening, dog? You sound excited. You sound elated. Talk to me, fam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, excited despite the fact that my Texans got their ass whipped over beyond from the second quarter during the Chiefs game, but that's besides the point.
Shouts out to the Texans, but go. Shouts out to Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mainly over here want to talk over for the whole Burrow versus Lawrence talk.
Yeah.
That very much so that, yes, Lawrence did not look as good or that he had previously had during his freshman year. Yes. It's very much so his draft stock is going down.
Yeah.
And Burrow, the thing is that Burrow, I'm not even sure that he may possibly even go to the Bengals with the number 1 overall pick. Because people forget the Miami Dolphins had 3 first-round picks. Very much so they could ship over the Bengals a massive package in order to get Burrow. So very much so is that you got to be able to wait and receive for what happens if we're going to end up taking Burrow. But we're not even also sure of who's going to have the number 1 overall pick, as being Burrow or Chase Young. Because as much as Burrow is a top-class gangster, and the way that he is balled out and having the greatest college football season for a quarterback of all time, that if people forget about Chase Young, and that Chase Young is a man amongst boys. Very much so is that Burrow's going to get all the hype and well-deserved, but we forget about Chase Young and maybe just worried that our words may come back to bite us in the ass.
Man, I feel you, dog. But Joe Burrow threw 60 touchdowns in the SEC, bro. That's crazy. Let me comment on something that you were saying. So in the Trevor Lawrence thing, I think this is what happens too, and I've been thinking about this the last few calls. I think sometimes when these quarterbacks show big promise their freshman year, I think that they're put up on this media type pedestal, because we saw the same thing happen to Jake Fromm when Jake Fromm was in the championship game and he showed some great promise, and Georgia picked him over Justin Fields. We were considering Jake Fromm to eventually develop into being one of those guys, but now he's a junior and we're kind of lukewarm on Jake Fromm. I think the same thing is kind of happening to Trevor. I think Trevor's a little more talented. He's a lot more talented than Drake Fromm. And Trevor will be good, but I just think that we just expected Trevor to be godly, just because he was doing these great things his freshman year. That's something else too. But something else interesting that you brought up. How do we know that the Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow? That's an interesting thought. Like, Andy Dalton ain't terrible. What if they like Andy Dalton and they want to use that first overall pick to get Chase Young or try to package some picks together and go get some other, like, that's an interesting notion. It shouldn't be that way, but it is an interesting notion. Go ahead.
Yeah. It should be, or definitely for an interesting notion, that I'm just saying that the Dolphins got 3 first-round picks, and that although that's definitely true, like you said, that the Bengals could just take that pick and get Chase Young, but you very much so know how NFL teams are, and very much so with the way scouting and everything is that teams got to get their quarterback one way or another, and that Joe Burrow is going to be the deadlock number 1 overall pick, whether you want to admit it or not. And for further making comment on Trevor Lawrence's draft stock before I get out of here, is that Trevor Lawrence is very much so in similar ways over to Peyton Manning, and let me explain why.
Okay.
For very much so for when Peyton Manning was running high over his sophomore year, I think it was in '96. I think it was. Yeah, and that people were very much so saying that Peyton Manning is great, but he won't cut over in the pros because he ain't got to taste the underachieved over in the SEC.
Yeah.
And then for a come time over the '98 draft, then we reached over the predicament that everybody was deeply regretting, the whole Ryan Leaf versus Peyton Manning debate. And that people were saying that Ryan Leaf was going to be better, and that Peyton Manning was great, but he won't turn out to be a better pro quarterback than Ryan Leaf, and we all know how that turned out. So it's like Trevor Lawrence was going to come back like a house blazing over there next year. Be like, hey, Trevor Lawrence, welcome back, or we're a draft buddy. We miss you, buddy. You're going to be the number 1 overall pick, and everybody's going to be loving you no matter what. So,
long story short, I think you mean that the media in sports is terrible, and they need to go their ass on somewhere because they're creating these false narratives. Hey, man, what's your name? Who is it?
That's Aaron.
Aaron, hey, man, I appreciated your call. You called in. You had a lot of slang and lingo that I like to use, and I really appreciate it. You're a platinum caller.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Keep holding down for the Dosey Wilsey and the PC Weezy, man. All right, peace out.
Hey, trying to drop Debo like Dusty Rose, you know? Listen, you know the funny thing about Aaron? Aaron's probably going to say that around his parents, but like, hey, where'd you learn to talk like that? Tell us some loud ass Mississippian got me talking like that. You know what I mean? Shouts out to Natchez, dog. Let's see. We got a caller. How much time we got? Because it's like midnight. There's one on the East Coast. I ain't gonna be here all day. So yeah, 48 minutes. I think we're gonna stop at an hour. I think that's good. We're gonna lock that.
The conference has been locked.
Gonna lock that month up. We're gonna take this call, then we're gonna do 15 minutes in the chat box. We're gonna get the hell up out of here, man. And this is going to be Tuesday's draft show. All right. Time out. Listen, Voch, Joe Burrow is very special. He might just be the right quarterback for the Bengals, but imagine if New England. Whoo! Let's tell y'all something, man. Just tell y'all something, man. The NFL, if they allow Joe Burrow to get to New England, they deserve it. I don't like collusion, but I believe in it. You know what I mean? And if New England says, "Hey man, we're gonna send 10 first round picks to what's the name? We're gonna send 10 first round picks to the Bengals to get a first overall pick to get Joe Burrow in New England, and Belichick's gonna sign a 15-year contract." Y'all motherfuckers need to get together like Voltron. Y'all need to get together like these Megazords. Y'all need to get together like Captain Planet. And y'all need to collude. If y'all allow, after New England's been this fantastic for a whole decade and a half, 2 decades almost, if you allow New England to get a top tier quarterback without losing some kind of games, y'all deserve it. Y'all freaking deserve it. Could you imagine Joe Burrow in New England? Man, please, y'all better get together and by the way, I'm Aaron the previous call. Yo, Aaron, I appreciate you for calling in, but you gotta take that pink little pony out your profile pic, fam. We gotta get that up out of here, doc. Gotta get that up out of here. 708, what's up? Who this?
Hey, Voch, this is Evan.
What's up, Evan? What you got for the show?
I mean, I do like that comment. Joe Burrow does seem like the perfect New England quarterback right now. But
I hate this.
What do you think? So I've moved to Cincinnati recently.
Okay.
And I'm from Chicago, moved to Cincinnati.
Hey.
I am a Bears fan, kinda. More of a college fan, but
sure.
Being around Cincinnati, there's always this organization is so garbage that. Like, to the point where, like, their practice field is so bad that A.J. Green fractured his ankle. Stuff just like little things like this. And I know Joe Burrow's so great, but I just kind of have a sinking feeling that the Bengals are kind of almost at a Browns level of beyond repair.
I like Joe. And I don't think the Bengals are beyond repair. I don't hate Marvin Lewis neither. I mean, you kind of gave him Andy Dalton and you stuck him with Andy Dalton and you asked him to win playoff games with him. I think that's the thing. I just think the Bengals because if you think about the Bengals for the last 10 years, they've been in the playoffs. They just don't win games. You know what I mean? And think about how hard it is for the Bengals to win games in that division playing Baltimore and Pittsburgh twice. You know what I mean? So they have been a solid team. They've just had Andy Dalton. You know what I mean? And I think if you upgrade quarterback and put some pieces around them, I think Bengals can be a really good team for you. Now, if you have if you go to the playoffs with what's my man Marvin Lewis. If you go to the playoffs constantly with Marvin Lewis and then you switch to a new head coach and now you got the first overall pick, I think there's something to be said about that head coach. But I don't think the Bengals are that far away. I think they close relatively. And Burrow, I don't know if he's going to do it this year, but in like 3 years or so, Burrow may be the guy to put them over the edge if they just keep drafting well.
Yeah, man. That's what I always appreciate about your show. I even sometimes check in on your Cowboys content just because you always believe in the team. And in Chicago especially, even when we're good, we always think we're trash. So it's always nice to kind of hear that. But thanks for taking my call. I'll get out of here. I know it's late. I got class tomorrow, so see ya.
Appreciate you, man.
The conference has been unlocked.
Evan, I just added you platinum, by the way, so next time you call in, you'll go to the front. Hey, the conference was locked, and I saw Taylor try to call in. Taylor, call back in. You're going to be the last call tonight. Then we're going to get in the chat box for a little bit because Taylor is an LSU fan, and I need to hear this. Taylor 6'4", 270. We need to know. We need to know what the vibes is in his home. Let me just hit the button one more time.
You know, Clyde is 6'4", 270.
You know what I'm saying? We just gotta get that vibe there. Let's get into the chat box for a little bit until Taylor calls back in because I really want to hear what he's talking about. Seriously, we have been historically bad in the modern era thanks to the Joneses. Oh, you talking about the Cowboys? I don't think we've been historically bad. I think we haven't gone over the hump that we're trying to get over, but
the conference has been locked.
But historically bad is pretty rough. it's pretty rough. Taylor, what does the party sound like at your house?
I'm actually on the road, and
Okay.
I have been told to quiet down by the hotel staff. So
hey man,
stay quiet.
you telling whoop de woos you got to do what you got to do, dog. How does it feel because as an LSU fan going from the whole Les Miles era and winning the ring with him and him not being able to beat Nick Saban, then him getting fired, then Joe Burrow getting there and people scratching their head about not Joe Burrow, Orgeron, and people kind of like scratching their head about Ed Orgeron, and now we're here with this championship with Ed Orgeron. Like, give me the vibes, Taylor. Like, what's going on?
I was spending most of my night trying to find old tweets and old stories about everybody who questioned when this man was hired.
Sure.
And I'm not going to say that I was thoroughly thrilled with the hire, but it was better than Tom Herman, as we can see.
Oh, Tom.
And that was pretty much the only other name being floated.
Sure.
And this man comes in here, and he had a rough start, but he realized that he needs to overhaul this offense. So he goes out and he gets Joe Brady, and now we're sitting here as the national motherfucking champions.
I think that's a big thing about Orgeron too. He doesn't get enough coaching credit for that. LSU played ball just like Alabama for a long time. Y'all would run the ball, your quarterbacks wouldn't be great, and you'll play defense and see what happens, But y'all had hey, look, we're going to go spread. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to get vertical. Clyde is still a good running back, sure, but you, of course, make your money in the air. And, I think it takes a humble coach to see the error in his ways and be able to make an adjustment. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Because a lot of these guys, they get egotistical and, my ways worked before. He realized it wasn't working.
Sure.
And, there was fans that got impatient, after the first season. Oh, my God, it's the same old thing. Like, people got to realize you can't overhaul a whole program in a season and a half. It takes time. And he tried the whole Matt Canada thing, and that offense was annoying.
Sure.
And didn't really work. But give it to Matt Canada. He was able to score against Alabama.
Sure.
Before this year.
Sure.
And, they go out and, not only Coach O, Coach Insminger, man, you got to give him credit because he's the offensive coordinator. He's calling the plays. And
sure.
Coach O comes to him and he says, hey, man, look, I'm going to go get this young guy's got great ideas. He's going to come here. He's going to help you revamp the offense. And Insminger didn't object to it. He said, bring him on. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And now look where we are.
Damn. Do you think that Coach O's early tenure had something to do with, hey, let's just try to do what Les Miles did and see if we could remake that? You think that Les Miles was a big influence on how he coached his team or how he wanted his team to be run?
Early on, I don't think, because he talked about it early on, that because he even said that, we can't revamp the whole program in half a season. So
yeah.
I think what he did was the players he had to go out and recruit new guys and bring them in, and the players he ran what he thought was best suited for his personnel. It still wasn't working, and that's when he realized that he needed a complete overhaul. So partially, yes, maybe some of the Les Miles hangover, trying to maybe improve on what Les Miles was doing, but then when he realized, Alabama's gotten away from it and look at them, so I think we need to follow suit and get out of this 1983 Bo Schembechler special offense we had going on down here.
Man. I mean, I would like to ask you what's going to happen after Joe Burrow. I mean, I would love to ask you that, but I kind of want you to celebrate a little bit more. But do y'all have somebody in place that's relatively like close is good, where y'all can stay relevant like constantly or whatever. Like the coaching staff is different and the whole team is good, but a lot of this happens because Joe Burrow's fantastic, fam. Like, do y'all have a guy sitting down that can make this thing competitive next year?
Next guy up should be Miles Brennan.
Okay.
He ain't Joe Burrow, I'll tell you that right now. But I mean, I might be a little biased in this comment, but we just watched the best college quarterback of all time play the best season by college quarterback ever.
You know what? Let me just say this too. And it could be because I'm 27 years old and I was born in 92. But at halftime, they did this best 11 college football players of all time. It could be because I'm a young man, but I think the 21st century was really unaccounted for here. You know what I mean? Like sure, Jim Thorpe and them is historically great for college football. Who else had? Roger was up there. They had some historically great guys, but I really think you, in terms of college football player, you got to put Joe up there. And I know it's real early, but fam, let me say this. Colt Brennan throwing 60 touchdowns in Hawaii is amazing. Consider the people that Hawaii plays. Still throwing 60 touchdowns is amazing. Joe did that shit in the SEC. He dropped 40 on Alabama. He dropped, 60, 50 something on freaking Oklahoma. He dropped multiple touchdowns on Georgia, multiple touchdowns on Clemson. These are teams that got pro-level players. These guys got pro players on their defense, and it don't matter who lined up against them. Joe Burrow dropping 3, 4, 5 touchdowns a game consistently. It's interesting. It's just an interesting.
It didn't matter who lined up. He threw 60 touchdowns this year, which is the most. He was only I want to say he finished the night with 450 yards, which made him probably less than 200 yards away from breaking the NCAA yardage record. So, I mean, this is the greatest season I've ever witnessed, for damn sure. And I'm going to be a little biased, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
That's
man.
the best college quarterback you ever going to see ever again.
Yeah, man, do what you
Maybe
gotta do.
80 years down the road, but I won't see it. So,
Yeah.
like I was telling my buddy, because he said, what do we do now that Burrow's leaving? I said, if you can get 75% of Joe Burrow, count yourself blessed.
Facts. Actually, you know what you got to do since the game's so conniving now and this transfer portal is a real thing? Like, go and, steal somebody quarterback. That sounds like the right thing to do.
Go steal Justin Fields from Ohio State or something? No, I wouldn't do it. They got Miles Brennan sitting on the bench. He's waited his time. I think he'll be the next one up unless some guy, unless one of these freshmen coming in just completely tear it up in spring ball and all that. So it should be Miles Brennan next year. I expect a pretty good drop-off unless Miles Brennan, develops the way Burrow did this year. Because I ain't going to lie to you. Watching Joe Burrow last year, I thought it was, we went from Danny Etling, and now we got Joe Burrow, and he's a little better. And I don't know what happened. I do know what happened, because this is my theory. I don't know if you remember, but in that UCF bowl game, Burrow threw a pick, and their linebacker completely obliterated Burrow on the return, and he ain't been the same since that hit.
he been tearing shit up since he got hit.
He got hit. Yeah, whoever that was knocked him into being Joe Montana or whatever.
You just dropped a hell of a name, man. Danny Etling, and you're like Jordan Jefferson. What's my man? Lee. What's his name? Lee.
Jared Lee.
Jared Lee.
Pick sixes, Jared Lee.
Y'all really ain't had quarterbacks like that. LSU really haven't had quarterbacks in a long time.
Not like Burrow. Best one we had was probably Flynn in the last. Well, I mean, we had Russell, but Flynn and Russell, and then from Flynn, we didn't have nothing. And then Mettenberger showed up his first year. He was all right. Second year, he did pretty good. I think he threw 3,300 yards. He had Landry and Beckham to throw to, but that was Les Miles, and that let's run it 50 times a game offense.
But nothing like this.
And then after that, we had, Brandon Harris and Shepard. I don't even remember the guy's name. He only played 3 games and he lost his job to Brandon Harris.
Yeah, it don't matter.
And then Harris lost his job to Etling. And,
oh, God.
Man, it's been a tough life as an LSU fan for quarterbacks. We get all this defensive talent, all these wide receivers, and then we put Brucey back there to throw it to him.
Well, man, I want you to just enjoy this, man, because the Cowboys ain't win the Super Bowl this year, so you gotta enjoy it somewhere.
Man, I got to experience the Mavericks in 11, and this is the first championship I've experienced since then. So I'm fixing to live it up and keep drinking all this beer. I'm gonna drink this hotel out of beer.
Hey man,
my LSU fans.
Just don't drive and drink a lot of water after, bro. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's dope, man. I just interviewed Taylor on my show. Like, how'd that work? And I think I asked some pretty decent interview questions. I'm not an interview guy. All right, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, man. I want to do 15 minutes in the chat box, man. Let's see what y'all got. 15 minutes. It's 12:21. Yeah, we're gonna do 15 minutes. Let's see. Voch, how come you never told me you had pool with NFL Illuminati? And let me tell y'all something, man. The Houston Texans was beating the Kansas City Chiefs by 21-0, boy. I was like, fam, I'm not going to watch a Texans-Titans AFC Championship game. I called the Illuminati, and sure enough, the NFL Illuminati hit that daggone button. They hit that daggone button, and they say, Voch, we got you. I say, what you mean, NFL Illuminati? They say, oh, we saw the bat signal. We saw the bat signal. You damn right, Voch. We cannot market Ryan Tannehill. We can't. We have got to find a way to get Pat Mahomes in the damn Super Bowl because if the Tennessee Titans were to beat the Texans, we know they can do it. If the Tennessee Titans can beat the Texans, then the Tennessee Titans is going to be in the damn championship, or the Texans is going to be in the damn championship. Hold on. Y'all should thank me. Y'all should thank me for making that call to the NFL Illuminati for getting Pat Mahomes in the damn Super Bowl. Now, of course, Pat Mahomes got to beat Tennessee, of course. But y'all should thank me. It almost went bad. Now, if we get the Chiefs versus the 49ers or the Chiefs versus the Packers, then cool. But y'all know we could have had Packers versus Titans in the Super Bowl if I ain't make my call. Y'all should thank me. Boy, anyway. Yeah, Rio, appreciate you for recognizing real, fam. Brady is the first round pick. Brady and the first and the second for Burrow. Why would Cincinnati want Tom? Tom Brady's 1 year away from being done. Why would he want Tom Brady? Why would the Bengals want a quarterback that's 1 year away from being gone and a first and a second round pick that's in the 20s, in the late 20s for Joe Burrow, who's gonna no. Packers ain't beating San Francisco. I don't care shit. My Cowboys ain't in. I hope they cancel the playoffs. I don't care about no Super Bowl. Listen, somebody was talking to me on Twitter or whatever, and I was like, man, if the Titans and the Texans are in the AFC Championship, wouldn't nobody watch that? It was like, come on, you know you'll watch it. What else you gonna do? Man, I can think of 12 things I'd rather do than to watch a whack-ass AFC Championship game. Come on, son. Titans spent some time in the hyperbolic time chamber. They're playing defense and running the ball really well. That's exactly what they're doing. But they're going to have to score some more points, though. They're going to have to score some more points. Let's see. What other questions y'all got? We got 10 minutes. Put some respect on hey man, listen, man. I'm not here for that top 11. For that greatest college football. I'm not here for that top 11, man. I'm not here for it. Tim Tebow is one of the greatest college football players of all time. I said it. And that's a good thing about college football. That's a good thing about college football is that you can be like every college football player doesn't end up being a great pro football player. So the best college football players ain't got to be the same as great pro football player. Like Johnny Manziel in the college world is a whole nother conversation. A totally different conversation than pro Johnny Manziel. It's different. It's different, fam. It is different. That's crazy. Are there any rising defensive tackles the Cowboys can draft? Reggie Bush is a fantastic example. Check out the D tackle draft show. I did it 2 days ago. It's in the queue. Hey, Reggie Bush. Nene, you wasn't watching college ball at the time, but when Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush year at USC, When Pete Carroll was the head coach, Reggie Bush was going to be the greatest. He was considered the greatest college football running back, fam. Oh, boy, the Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was what, second overall pick? And he was this was back when drafting running backs at first overall was actually a conversation. It was like Reggie Bush was like, I remember the Texans played against the Saints, and they both had the worst teams. And they were playing against each other in week 17. And the loser was gonna get the first overall pick. And they called that shit the Bush Bowl. They called that shit the Bush Bowl. And it was that the loser was gonna get Reggie Bush. Like, that was the conversation, right? And the Saints beat the Texans or whatever. And I remember how crazy the conversation was when the Texans didn't draft Reggie Bush. They drafted Mario Williams. I remember how crazy that reaction was. I kind of want to look that up on the internet and kind of relive that. Let me look that up. But yeah, I mean but Reggie Bush was taken second overall. Like, y'all know how y'all felt about Saquon Barkley? Like, Reggie Bush was considered like crazy in college football land. And he had a cool pro career. I mean, he got a championship. He got a Super Bowl with the Saints or whatever. And he kind of turned into a journeyman, but man, he wasn't supposed to be this. NFL draft Mario Williams. Man, I ain't never heard of Mario Williams. I'm like, who the hell is Mario Williams? I wasn't draft guy at the time. I was very young at the time. I wasn't draft guy at all, but fam, it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, let me put that down. I'm gonna watch that later. All right, let's see what else y'all got. Voch, would you rather have Jerry Jeudy or AJ Brown on the Cowboys? Man, Jerry Jeudy gonna be special, man. Jerry Jeudy is a quick, fast guy, and he's also a great route runner. Jerry Jeudy is gonna be special. Hang tight. Reggie Bush was a very good gadget player. I mean, he was cool in the pros, but he wasn't Reggie Bush. He wasn't USC Reggie Bush. He was different. Somebody check on AJ Terrell. That man lost a lot of draft money, but yeah. You know, number 8 was actually trending. Like, if you look at Twitter, like the actual number 8 was trending. And if you clicked on it, they was talking about people getting picked on. Yeah. Yeah, they were talking about the football game. It's crazy. Clyde is Maurice Jones-Drew mixed with Deion Lewis. I would have to watch some more film. I would have to watch a little more film. But I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying. Just a short, one big muscle type dude that catches the ball and runs hard. Yeah, I feel you, sure. I don't make player comparisons, though. I don't make player comparisons, though. You remember the diss on Williams at the time? Yeah, it was crazy. Maurice Jones-Drew was fired at UCLA. Facts. Somebody check. Yeah, I remember Andre Ware. Darren McFadden in Arkansas was fantastic. I don't think Adrian Peterson gets enough credit too. Like, he was in Oklahoma. I don't think Adrian Peterson gets enough credit. I just don't think he does, man. I think he's one of the greatest running backs of this time, but I don't think we give him enough. I don't think he's given enough credit, man. I don't know, man. Maybe he'll fall in that category of guys that were really great at the time that, like Priest Holmes or like Sean Alexander. You know what I mean? Guys that were really good in that era, but I guess they won't stand the test of time or whatever. Like, Adrian Peterson is really one of the greatest running backs I've ever seen, man. But that's that conversation. Voch, you the best, bro. Wish you well, man, bitch. Well, we'll see. We'll see, my guy. Peterson got hurt at OU, so his limelight diminished a little bit. Hey, man, you know somebody else, too? Ricky Williams. I had to explain to my girl how dope Ricky Williams was. I had to explain. Ricky Williams was fantastic. Do I remember Jamal Lewis? Yeah, Jamal Lewis. I forgot what college team Jamal Lewis went to. I remember when he was with the Ravens, and I remember his rookie year, Jamal Lewis ran over every damn body. But I don't remember Jamal Lewis in college, though. Don't remember Jamal Lewis in college. Tennessee, I guess. I wasn't around. I just remember Jamal Lewis being fantastic with Baltimore, his rookie year. That is what I remember from Jamal Lewis. Y'all got any more questions before I wrap this thing up? Yes, Nene. Ricky loves wild parsley. Man, look, if I fail the drug test, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna retire. That's funny. What do you think about the XFL? Let me tell you something. I think the XFL taking themselves too seriously. Like I was all for the XFL back in the day when they had The Rock cutting promos and shit. You know what I mean? Like when they, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Do you see the throw that this quarterback just made in the touchdown? The Rock says this: if you don't run the ball on 3rd and 1, oh man, if they had a league that had The Rock and Stone Cold commentating, I watch football all day. I watch football all day. I'll tell you what, brother, this is definitely pass interference. You can put your hand on the jersey, but you can't pull the jersey, brother. That's not gonna fly on the next level. You got to have 2 feet in. I would love to have wrestlers commentate. As I said, XFL take themselves too seriously, man. I think the XFL wants to consider themselves to be like a real football entity, and that's cool. But can you imagine a referee making a bad call and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out and Stone Cold stuns the referee and middle fingers him every time he makes a bad call? Can you imagine that? Come on, son. That would be Hulk Hogan. What'd I say? How do I get the all 22 as G14 classified, fam? Can't tell you. As G14 classified. How dope that be? Who else? What else will happen? Like if you lined up at 4th and 1 and all the lights in the stadium went off, then the lights came back on and the Undertaker was behind you sacking your head. The plug is not hitting me up about the all 22. I'm waiting patiently. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to call my first plug to call him and see what happens. But, oh, man, I've been trying. Oh, yeah. I feel you, Will. My bad. What else would be funny? What else would be funny? What if he was running into the end zone and Rey Mysterio jumps off the goalpost and do some kind of cruiserweight flip in the air and then kick you and keep you? I would love that. I would love if they incorporated pro wrestling into football, right? Like if you could tackle people by like choke slamming and power bombing for like that'll be dope. But I think the XFL is taking themselves too seriously, and I think it's gonna be just like arena football. It's gonna be like what's that league that just got kicked out, like the AFL? I think it's going to be just like that. It's just going to be a league where secondary players go and play, and it's going to be fun for a week. It's going to be dope for a week because some names we recognize, like we know some of these guys, you know, and as a draft community, we know a lot of these players that, you know, were in the league, that ain't in the league. I think Donnell Pumphrey is going to be there. Aaron Murray from Georgia is going to be there, and a couple other names that we're going to recognize or whatever, but I just don't think it's gonna be, you know, it's just gonna be real football. If they want to do something dope, they gotta do something different, you know. I don't think they're gonna do nothing different. All right, y'all, it's late. It's 1:30 on the East Coast. I just wanted to, Adrian Lindsay says the coach's RKO. Facts. Facts. Wrestling was so much better back then than nowadays. I don't know. Whatever. Hey, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Voch Lombardi, VOCHLOMBARDI. Salute to my patrons, man. Y'all join my Discord for all kind of conversations. We talk everything in the Discord. We got different tabs or whatever. I'm trying to build that up. Y'all go check that out. The link is in the description. We're going to work on getting some more designs so we can get into some merch. And I'm just reading these super chats. My bad. Shouts out to Adrian Lindsay 3 times. Shouts out to Nene, and shouts out to Rio dropping that smooth 100 in the super chat, man. I appreciate y'all for everything y'all do, man. Appreciate y'all. It's so late, man. But listen, I dropped a Joe Burrow film session earlier. Y'all can watch that today. You can watch it tomorrow. Whatever you want to do, man. Just check it out at some point. I'd be grateful if y'all did that. I got sponsors, man. This show was brought to you by Channels for Cheap and AffordableSticks.com. I'm just going to roll these ads, man. Y'all watch them at your leisure. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Till next time. The next show is going to be Thursday. And for all my Cowboys people, I'm going to be dropping my my film analysis on the sacks or whatever. The quarterback sacks. Dak getting sacked 23 times. I'll break down those plays. So appreciate y'all, man. Ads. My cable bill was way too high. I reached out to affordablesticks.com. They sent me a Fire Stick, plug that thing into the HDMI. Now I get unlimited shows, movies, and live TV. I'm a huge sports fan, so I love League Pass, Sunday Ticket, and I get the pay-per-view fights for free. That's some of the whole family. You can buy a Fire Stick for every TV in the house and still spend less money than you would on cable. That's affordablesticks.com. There's a link in my description. You should go click it. Cut the cord, man. The YouTube Illuminati is taking money away from your favorite content creators, and people often ask the best way to support the channel directly. I tell them that's subscribing to my Patreon. Just $1 a month would increase production and the frequency of uploads. Basically, that means more content for you. For less than a bag of almond M&Ms, you can support the channel, call dibs on requests for future videos, and you can have access to Patreon exclusive material like my throwback film sessions. That's patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. I appreciate the support. Doski Woski. Salute. After canceling my cable, I saved $2,400 this year by switching to Beast TV through channelsforcheap.com. Some people pay $200+ a month. I paid $120 a year, or you can go $15 a month if that's what's convenient for you. You get 2,500 HD channels. 1,000 of those are in English, and there are plenty other international channels, TV Guide, and we get all the sports. One of my favorite things is multi-screen feature. So if I don't know what I want to watch, I can tune into 4 different channels at one time that you can watch on 4 different devices, and it's available on Fire Sticks, smart TVs, tablets, and if you're on the go, you can watch TV on your phone. Hit the link in my description or go to channelsforcheap.com where you can get a free 7-day trial. That's a whole week for you to just sit down and play with it and see what you like about it, then come back and make a purchase. If you have any questions, go to channelsforcheap.com, hit this little button right here, and they'll respond to you immediately. That is channels4cheap.com. The link is in the description. I highly recommend it. Let's do it.